Is Mary Rudolph here? She didn't make it? Who's away? Jim. Jim Thomas. Jim Thomas.
Testing, testing. Got it right? Okay.
Right over on this side again. Got a program? More am I? Back in the back, right?
Katrina, who's away? Katrina. Yeah, he does go. You want to sit here or you want to sit?
Oh, no.
Okay. My name is Rosita Worl, and I serve as president of the Sealaska Heritage Institute. It is my honor to welcome you to our At.Óow and Ancestors Welcome Home ceremony. We deeply regret that we had to limit the number of individuals who could attend this ceremony in person. However, your safety is of the utmost concern to us. We also welcome those who are viewing this ceremony via live streaming. The event will also be recorded and available on YouTube. In 2017, Sealaska held a ceremony to welcome a Chilkat robe donated to SHI by Bruce and Gretchen Jacobson at the behest of their daughter, Sarah. It was a new ceremonial activity for us, since we never alienated cultural objects except in the rare case for liability payments. It was only during the colonial period that we began to witness an outflow of our cultural objects. However, under the Native American Graves Protection Act, and through the kind and generous donations of people like the Jacobsons, and like today, Wells Fargo, the Weissbrodt family, and Dr. Ellie Cordes, our At.Óow are being returned. One of our beliefs is that the spirit of our ancestors are imbued in our At.Óow, and we want to celebrate the return of our ancestors to their homeland. We are here today to welcome an extraordinary collection of sacred objects in addition to a Tlingit mask and hat and a tana. The At.Óow displayed here which will be uncovered soon, includes rattles, an octopus bag, 2 painted spruce root hats, a ceremonial collar, a dagger, 2 button blankets, 2 maskets, a tunic, and a chilkat robe, and a helmet. The collection also includes a number of shamanic objects, which are extraordinarily powerful and sacred. Thus, in accordance with the protocols established by the Council of Traditional Scholars, they are covered by a black cloth in the corner, surrounded by Devil's Club. The collection was donated to SHI by Wells Fargo, which cared for the items in its Wells Fargo Museum in Anchorage. The pieces were collected by the National Bank of Alaska from 1968 to 1986 under the direction of Elmer Rasmussen. Wells Fargo maintained the collection in its museum as part of its acquisition of the National Bank of Alaska in 2000. We are grateful for this kind act of returning our At.Óow, and we are thrilled to welcome our ancestors home. In accordance with Tlingit law and SHI policy, if we have documentation that an At.Óow is owned by a clan, it will be returned to the clan. Let us give thanks to Wells Fargo, which is represented today by Joe Everhart, who serves as Wells Fargo Market Executive, and by Leslie Dahl, Vice President, Commercial Relationships Manager, Alaska Commercial Banking Group, Juneau. And if I may, I would now like to invite Joe Everhart, who serves as a Wells Fargo executive, market executive, to offer his comments.
Good afternoon and welcome. You know, Rosita took my entire speech, but I thought I would just adapt it. So I'm going to take you back on a small history lesson. I still remember when I started with the bank as a management trainee, then National Bank of Alaska, in 1990. This is when you all do the math and realize, well, you're not even that old to be with the bank for 31 years. But part of the management training program was getting to experience all the things that National Bank of Alaska did for the state of Alaska. And one of those was getting a tour and hearing the story of Elmer's focus on Alaska and supporting Alaska for what Alaska really is. And part of that is one of the reasons Rosita talked about, is Elmer's focus on creating a showpiece in Alaska to showcase native art and the value of Alaska. Starting in '68, working through the sale of National Bank of Alaska to Wells Fargo in 2000. And Ed specifically worked very closely with the then Dick Kovacevic, the CEO of Wells, when the bank was being purchased, on meticulously categorizing everything that the bank had collected and preserved in our museum in Anchorage over the years. And with the assurance that if the bank changed and didn't want to support the museum anymore, that these cultural items would not leave Alaska and would be maintained to showcase in Alaska. We did make the decision about a year ago to close the museum, and working very closely with entities like the Sealaska Heritage Institute to bring these cultural items home. And that's what we're really celebrating today, bringing these items back to Southeast Alaska, just bringing them home. So I'm very excited about today. I can't be more proud of the bank's focus on ensuring that these items come back to where they should be. And we're going to see them in a couple minutes. And so, Rosita, thank you very much for the opportunity. And on behalf of Wells Fargo, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Everhart, and goodness cheese to Wells Fargo for its kind and generous donation. A second collection, comprised of a mask and hat, were donated to SHI by the family of I.S. Lefty Weissbrodt, and an attorney who prosecuted Tlingit and Haida land claims beginning in the 1900s. While Weissbrodt's earliest work in Native American claims was with the Tlingit and Haida and Sealaska, he later served as claims attorney for more than 30 tribes, and his work in connection with Native American composed the majority of his firm's work. The hat was made by master Tlingit artist Nathan Jackson, who is here with us today, and was given to Weissbrodt by Native people in appreciation of his work and on their behalf. If we can now recognize Yesiadi, Nathan Jackson, clan leader of the Sukakadi. Gunachish, that beautiful hat there is made by Nathan. Gunachish Nathan, and Gunachish to the Weissbrodt family. The mask was also given to Weissbrodt and was made by the noted Tlingit artist, Michael Beasley, who is also here with us today. Let us recognize Mick for his great work. Gunachish Mick. And Mick is going on to teach, and we haven't confirmed yet, but he's going to be teaching a mask class for some of our people. Gunachish Mick. The hat and mask will be exhibited for the public to see the spectacular art and will be available for SHI for study by students. I would like to emphasize that the hat and mask are testimony to the Southeast Alaska land claims effort and ultimately the judicial and legislative settlements. I would now like to read a statement from the Weissbrodt family. My name is Gregory Monahan, and I am married to Amy Weissbrodt Monahan, Lefty I.S. Weissbrodt's daughter. I am writing now on behalf of the Weissbrodt family. We are very grateful to the Sealaska Heritage Institute for the gift you have given us by being here to receive the hat that was given to Lefty in appreciation of his legal work. Lefty was very proud of the hat and appreciated the great honor that was bestowed on him when he was given the hat and mask. We have always thought that the hat was special, and we recognize that we did not fully understand its cultural significance and its wonderful carving. We are so grateful that we were able to get the hat and the mask back to a place where it can be truly appreciated. We are truly happy that the hat and mask have come home. Thank you. Signed, David Weissbrodt and Patricia Schaefer, Amy Weissbrodt and Gregory Monahan, Ellen Weissbrodt, who is now deceased, and John Dagger. Our deepest thanks to the Weissbrodt family. Last week, we were contacted by Dr. Ellie Cordes, who advised us that she would like to return a Tanal, a copper shield with a painted crest designs to its homeland. Unfortunately, we could not get the Tanal here in time for this ceremony. However, we do have a poster of the Tanal that will be shown along with the At.Óow that was donated by the Wells Fargo. Dr. Cordes is a retired associate professor from the American Indian Studies Department at Palomar College near San Diego, California. She taught classes in North America, Native art history for more than 20 years. 6 years ago, she stumbled upon an auction of Native American objects. The objects had no provenience other than the dealer's comments that they were collected by a very old man who had traveled extensively in the 1920s and then left them in his attic for many years. She saw a piece of copper for sale and says that the sight of it caused her heart to leap. So she bought it out of fear that it would be recycled for the value of the copper metal in it. She marveled that she walked into the shop at precisely the exact second to save this Tanal. She made the decision to donate the Tanal to SHI. Hopefully she is watching via live streaming, and we want to thank her for this kind donation and assure her that it will be well cared for and studied by our artists. SHI is very fortunate to have the Council of Traditional Scholars. we are very fortunate to have their wisdom and who ensure that the cultural integrity of our activities is maintained. These welcoming home ceremonies are new ceremonies, but they are based on ancient protocols and practices that have guided us for centuries. We thank the council who are seated here for its guidance. Unfortunately, you could see that we do have an empty seat for the loss of our dear clan leader, David Katzig. This is our first ceremony without him, and we miss him terribly. The council made the decision to have the Ravens begin the ceremony, and I would now like to call on Joey Zuboff, clan leader of the Raven House of the Angun Deshitan. Joey. I can still call him Joey.
So I have to be really careful. I'm refinancing with Wells Fargo. So I'm going to put them on the hot spot here. Am I doing the okay, I'm going to call on a couple of the people that covered these items. At.Óow, to go ahead and unfold. Achishas Takhlawedi, Likuhas Takewedi, Suwakan Yan Kagwantan. Akain Gunish Chish, Wushkitan, Yanyedi, for allowing us to gather within these rooms. Normally the dog salmon would lead me out, but I'm in their home. You see dog salmon fingerprints in here. Ganachtan, Eshu hit, Kakal hit, Steen hit, Saga hit, Tuka hit. I know are standing with me to welcome these artifacts. So to bring life back to these, I'm going to do a spirit song. I'm going to call on Hinde, will be the performer who is from Deshuhit. And I'm going to call on the two Wells Fargo people to help in the ceremony. Agu. Come right up here, yes. Tune, grab the drum and the hat. Should be a stick there too. When we do this at a koyik, we give away the blanket after we perform behind it. And this is what they'll be doing. We'll be bringing this back to life. We have a saying in Angun that when we go to see our ancestors' artifacts, we look at them as if they are on, how would you say it? Life support. We have to have gloves on and masks to touch them. So these now are going to be able to breathe. They will not be on life support because we're going to bring them back to life as much as we can. Yekuti, spirit dance. The dancer, when he's dancing behind it, will be calling on his grandmother spirit to help him perform. When we set a halibut skate, we watch for the buoy. The buoy will bounce up. It'll go slow. This is the beginning. Normally this song would have 13 sets, but Hyundai said no way. So we're going to do 2. As the halibut is being brought up, be the second set, the halibut starts to fight. And it slams itself. This is going to be the end. And usually when a halibut, you see, comes to the surface of the water, it'll spit up the stuff out of its mouth. The feathers that you will see coming out will be imitating that portion of the song. That'll be the ending. And that those feathers that float around, if it lands on you, don't brush it off. It's some good luck. So it's appropriate that these artifacts are in front of us because we're going to be calling on our ancestors to guide us on the new existence that they will have. Okay. Put it up a little bit high. He said he wanted it up high because he didn't know how long it can last. Have a good hold on it. Hang on to it. At.Óow. So it's appropriate that Wells Fargo gives it back to us. The significance of it. At.Óow.
If I may, I'd like to introduce to you our Council of Traditional Scholars. Kenny Grant, who's the chair, serves as the chair. Paul Marks, Kluka Khadi, Jim Thomas from Yakutat, and also Joy Zuboff. Also, we have on the Eagle side, we have Mary Rudolph from Huna from the Chukanadi, who I thought was going to be here, and also Rob Edwardson representing the Haida. And soon to come on will be Alfie Price representing the Tsimshian. We also have Joe Hotch and also Ruth Demmert, who unfortunately are not able to be with us, but we do want to recognize our council for all of the great work that they do for us. Gunilchish, Council of Traditional Scholars. And now if I could call on Kenny Grant, Chair, to lead us through the Raven side.
Before I begin, I want to acknowledge a couple of things that happened today. Today was a really glorious day for me. This morning I participated in welcoming a party of people that I think they belong to the Avery Label Company. Evidently, they are well endowed with money. And there was a parcel of land in holding in Glacier Bay, the homeland of the Huna people, Berg Bay. Chukanhini, Yedawasako, Yehoa, Kochte, as Awak, as Hastijide, Eosine, we Ane. Yeah, that was quite an occasion. It was really lifting the spirits up. I remember translating the elders, and they were talking about the homeland, and there was, brought tears to my eyes, listening to them talk about the homeland. And now it is returned. It's not an Agbar thing. It's the goodness of the heart of the people that returned, that they purchased that land that was in holding, and they turned it over to the park and to the tribe, and it has a big future in it, and it's going to be exciting. And just before I came here, I'm going to present it to SHI. I got an offer from a gentleman down in Canada that has a copper shield. It's 3 feet high and 2 feet wide. And it's very, very old. And they're offering it to me, but I think it's more than I can handle. I don't want that, risk it having it in my own house. So anyway, that, and I know there was one other thing too now, but I can't think. Maybe it's this thing here. Yeah, that, the cheese train, At.Nané. At.Óow, Watusiku, Watuachtiak, Achat, Astasatu, Atu, At.Óow. Achuat, Gunachish, Yekachtu Saka, Achina Hasiatas Kina, Gunachish, Yekachtu Saka, Tabusaku Aya, Tabusaku Aya. Now we're going to get the Raven clans to get up, and they will give thanks for returning our ancestors. Our ancestors are within are At.Óow, and I know that the Tsimshians and the Haidas are also in there. Their ancestors are in there too, so really, let's see, the first one I'll call on, I don't see Kiksadi. Is there Kiksadi here? Okay, our tradition with a spirit song always has to be balanced by the opposite, so we'll give the eagles a chance to balance it now.
So, in our culture, we have wuxia, where we must maintain spiritual and social balance. And so at this time, we're calling upon our Eagle brothers, Elijah Marks, Joseph Marks, and Paul Marks II, to do the spirit dance, to balance the Raven Deshitan dance that was just performed for us. This will ensure balance between our clans and our eagles and ravens.
David.
We always have someone from the opposite side to do the ceremonial service. So in this case, they've called upon our ravens to put the hat on our dancer, and 2 ravens will also be holding up the blankets for the eagles to dance.
What a wonderful tradition we have. At least this is the traditions that was passed on by our grandparents, and now we have the possession of it, and it was really a wonderful thing to witness what has happened here. With Chishu Haka, Katyahan, Yaidatka, Kiksadigayado Has, Taskiatia, are they here? Kiksadi. We have a list of Raven clan leaders that are supposed to speak, but evidently some of them couldn't make it. No Kiksadi. My eyes are real bad. Looks Nahadi. Nahadi. Nahkiyat Yadayan Yohan. And it looks Nahadi here.
Haku, come.
On behalf of my clan, I'd like to thank you for bringing everything. Thank you very, very much. It means a lot.
Sinedi. Kennedy. Aduke Yohan. Wedo. Yaktak go.
Gunakchish. Just wanted to say what I'm experiencing here and seeing here is very, very wonderful that we get the At.Óow, what has been through the generations of ancestors. And what I see is it's real beautiful, and it's, I know, I feel it in here that all this is going to be returned. And I just wanted to let everybody know that I am glad to be here to witness all of this. So gunakchish, gunakchish.
Ganach Tedi, At.Óow.
Gunuchish, Vilchish. My name is John Wynn Yehekwa. It is not me who is speaking today. It is my clan brother Smitty Katzik, Tonk, and Tom Katzik, Shach, and George Katzik. Thank you very much, Gunuchish, for return of the artifacts. Very much appreciated.
Kachadi, At.Óow. Kachadi. Deshitan. Yes, no. You go off one.
Hear my words. Thank you, most honorable people of this land. Gunuchish, thank you for allowing the ravens to lead us out. Normally it would be the owners of the land who would lead us out. So I want to make sure that the owners of the land and the eagles that said the ravens can go first. And it's Chi-Shoho. It's an honor. My father's people, the killer whale. I see my grandmother in front of me. Keet Kushihit. My grandfather's Kekwedi, the bear. My in-laws, Kagwantan. My wife's Kagwantan. Or my children, Chakudihit. To Wells Fargo for allowing us to be able to touch the items that our ancestors had is a big honor. And for all the hard work that SHI has put in to have this gathering. I was in, I won't say the name of the museum, but I had to travel a long way. And when I got on the jet, I felt like I was leaving something behind. I felt like I had just come from a prison and had to say goodbye to my loved ones that were in there. Because our ancestors wore these items. They made them with their hands. I look at these hats, our ancestors. It means a great deal to us because their fingerprints are on these items. I was told to dig deep. Grab onto my culture. And I looked at the artifacts and I said, I don't have to dig because my ancestors' fingerprints are on here. I'm not alone. When I first walked into this museum, I felt a crowd. This is the one that's you all sitting here. I opened up the door and a group of people came running to me, only I couldn't see, but I could feel your presence. Just as I feel your presence here and I can see you, I couldn't see the presence that rushed to me. And the only way that I can calm myself and the presence that was in front of me was to do a yekoti, such as we just did. And then it calmed down again. Our ancestors had a great belief in when we see things such as my father's At.Óow. I'm reminded of who my father's people. Just as me, I stand in front of my grandmother, Anateen. I'm reminded of the lives before her. So I want to make sure, usually when something like this happens, we're indebted. Indebted. So I want to make sure that Wells Fargo isn't going to keep us in debt. I'm going to ask them, we're not in debt, right? Can we have that signed out here? I won't give you my last name until after my thing goes. Cherish, I see a dagger. That is a symbol of our veterans that we hold with high esteem. I can't say.
The dagger, Jackie.
No. Yeah, be a male. I don't know if that one's seen blood or not. Yeah, just hold up the dagger. Yeah. Correct way is to hold it down. Hold it down. Hold it down. Don't point it. Don't point it. There you go. So we don't know if this is seen blood or not. But it is a reminder of our veterans who hold very high. So that will be brought out where the veterans will acknowledge that. Chief, thank you, Nathan, for that. I am honored to be a part of this. I'm honored to sit with the scholars. I'm honored to be a part of this welcoming home ceremony. And again, thank you to the Wells Fargo people. And I know there's been a lot of, not just you two, that had to come together such as we have and release this to us. Sheesh, ho ho. Sheesh. Yeah, way.
Genechon, Itkoha, Akik, Shaigan, Itkoha.
My big brother, Ken, to say you his name, says to me, all that is beautiful, all that is great about Mount Fairweather is sparkling in the eyes of all of the clans of that land. Gonna chishawe ken. How atas, my aunties who are the sisters of my father. Sanihas, my uncles who are the brothers of my father. Ahas, Tla is mother. Tlauk is little mom. Those of you who are the sisters of my mother, my aunties. Akakas, those of you who are my uncles, who are the brothers of my mother. We don't just say auntie. When we address the aunties and the uncles, we have to know how to acknowledge which one is which. Otherwise, we're going to make a mistake. Our grandparents, all of you gone, who are now the ancients. Chauk ayu, yeha chikatwuti, who I want to also say, Gunachish, Wells Fargo, the bank that you bought, Alaska Katach, National Bank of Alaska. Elmer Rasmussen Duish Ayu, the father of Elmer Rasmussen, was the minister at Yakutat, Alaska, many, many years. Some of his collections are still all over the West Coast. My best friend from Juneau was Dick Hall. I don't know if any of you knew him. And I was, when Elmer ran for Senate, I was his Southeast manager. Didn't do a very good job. Chauk ayu yatat hajit akututi. A long time ago, when they gave us something beautiful like this from time immemorial, Atatayu arch. We gather around it, leaders, Kashate Hani, the ones who stand to the front. We sit in silence around it. Special women would be chosen to put it out. Some of the wives of the chiefs. And then we would gather around it. Nobody would say a word. We would sit in silence. And we would let that which is in the object flow into our minds. And we would let our minds surround all of it so that together we get messages of what the ancients want us to know about the way we are to live our lives. One week we will still where we would choose the very spiritual one. Maybe that person will have cedar boughs, water, sprinkle, or whatever way they do it, whatever way they want to do it. And that is to sweep away the death that the objects would have touched. Very sacred, very strong. And then, after it was all done, then we would leave in quiet. And then we would come back. And then the leaders would speak. Then we would be allowed to touch. When we say, I feel good deep inside, At.Óow, that which is me inside, At.Óow, it is thrilled. That's the way we express true joy. Spirit, my big brother always has to correct. So, yutati yutsu, At.Óow sigui in kohoniki. I just want to tell you this quickly. You Yakdat Kada Hasati, when we are from Yakutat. Chop, to you sit, you hin kade, long time ago when the glaciers were way out to the ocean. Yak to at, we walk, paddle. The people of Yakutat didn't know much about the Tlingits of Southeast. Too far away. Wahona you Kinahpon of Yakutat. That's why you don't hear our names much down here. We came down Kunanakatach from the land of the Athabaskan, from the land of At.Nané, Yantu At. Sometimes when they tell the story, it's like, 20 years ago, 80 years ago. No, the glaciers were still out to sea. We're walking. We walked down the Copper River. Long time. Goodness, cheesh. Atchaway place ayanach adat hat uskoka. On. I apologize to my brothers, uncles, grandparents, that I don't know enough about their clans. And yet, I feel it. I see it. We're the same people, even so. And it gives us big strength. Not much of us left now. Way on, and we say, he jumped in a canoe. We didn't have this expression, they're walking into the forest. Clan, we didn't have that expression. Go away. Finally, don't like to bring me up because I'm like that. Yeah. Can you hear me without that? Basically, we don't look at it through glass when it's coming to us like this. We don't like to read it on a piece of paper that somebody said about us. We have to know it from ourselves. I don't know much. This rattle is like a rattle. It's got other symbols on it. Oh, yeah. He was saying it belongs to At. At is the powerful medicine man we have, not evil. Yeah, the one they call on the paper, they call it oyster catch. Well, it's got a story all its own. I don't know anything about the other ones. I'm not going to pretend and make up a story, but I'm going to tell you what that oyster catcher means to me from Yakdat. It's like a snipe. You watch snipes on the beach, they eat like this. So from that, with just looking into a box, if you could sing the song, you would know 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now, what that little snipe means. Sana, Sana, At.Óow island. Our islands were always backed by long, steep hills, seagull lakes. Sana, At.Óow, the big, beautiful beaches with rocks and stones on the bottom of the island. Yes, it was E.T. Raven steps on top of it are the steps of his nephews, little snipes. Sana, Sana. That's what that means. Sana, Sana, At.Óow. Sana, Sana, At.Óow. Yes, it was E.T. Akayo Kishu. Yes, Kes, Sana, Sana, the nephews of Raven. And it was so important to know that the leaders of our Tlingit, the ravens, eagles too, they treasured their nephews. That's the meaning of it. We love our nephews because they're the ones that go hunting with us. They're the ones that sit at our feet and they look at us in respect and they learn as we tell them stories. And it is the nephews, sister's son, my sister-in-law's son, who sit to the back of me as I At.Nané, the forehead toward the enemy. They stand in my back. They obey duty. So, Sana, Sana, At.Óow. Sana, Sana, At.Óow. Yes, it was E.T. Akayo Kishu. Yes, Kihas. Sana, Sana. Now try it with me. Sana, Sana, At.Óow. Sana, Sana, At.Óow. Yes, it was E.T. Akayo. Yes, Kihas. Sana, Sana. Good.
My kid put her window open 1 minute on this time.
Sukahati, Weissbrodt, Wakiri, Aston, Hoho, Iguayafan, Chichaya, Yadi Sealaska Heritage Institute, Kenyan, Bahari, it's difficult to stop and interpret what I've said because it breaks the momentum of the Tlingit. I'm thanking Sealaska Heritage Institute for inviting us here today to welcome back the At.Óow. Yewe At.Óow. At.Óow. Susuwayaha. Ustin has shatha. Chakasati asitiliate. To me, in my way of thinking, is as if they're holding hands with each other, the eagle side and the raven side.
Chuada Chukwatan, Kwaskia to Tundatanik City. And I thought once again, maybe this was their thought. Has totally asaha. They're lonesome. Has to aniyas for their land. Achkawe Yuhan Kauditanka. That is why they spoke to you. Bring me back home. Kuchte Kajeti Kwan. Be sure to bring me back home. Yewechtun the tonic satiha ya At.Óow. Yewutu wasacha At.Óow. This is what we call our things that we put on, is At.Óow. We didn't call it artwork or arts. No. Hakuthnik atut satinuchka ya tadasa mutut yechinka. Whatever we did with our hands, it was a story of, and telling what it represented. Yeah, to say something about this. Gwatla, yetu wasaha, gwatla. This dagger, kawe, utus yeken ka. What's it do with warrior? Tlingit kaina kahipi. Warrior. Warrior. Kika the SHI Taide Hasatino Hasachek. They would put it under their pillow. Maybe they had pillows in. But they would put it under there and sleep on it, and they're always ready with it. So, Wasadu Asaka, a gate has to go ka when they had a war with others. Asaduk Nochkat has to jint kak. They would tie it onto the warrior's hand. He would go to war with it. If they didn't find the dagger on the warrior's hand, if he had died during the war, it means he probably ran. So you wanted to be found if you died or were deceased, you had that dagger in your hand. Yewech toasigu hasaha ye hasakumrukuha. Che sowe hasakawaduk we kwatla hastujen kak achkawa kukte hasawagutka. It is as if their dagger is still tied to their hands, and that's why they came back. Hastutundatanik satlinit nochka hatlingit sati. Our ancestors were very strong in spirit. Achkawachi yesua tut sati hastu wasadu asauka kaykahego yesua tut satiha hastu. It's as if their ancestral spirits are still in there. Achkawe ach astuse. That's the reason why you heard their voice. Yewe kokte adusa natkide wutukoko. Asa wuts nuchka adusa wayan kahas han. Dudok sawaya ya kahe. Akawe hasawaka. They would ask, where are you from? Where did you come from? Those that were on the shore would say, Tlakach takaya. We're from Tlakach. Yewa shikwa he. Atlatkik satiin ka Tlakach. This is where our ancestral land base was at the beginning, Tlakach. Tatkunutko Shah, Tatkwedi, Shikwa, Hanach Satia. Our clan name was Tatkwedi at the beginning. Yewe watu wawujiata, Kakasatiya, Kudak Sawayahan, Kudak Sawayahan. Kuso hastusa. Tuakke, Teshwutusiku, Kudak Sawaya, At.Óow. We are not sure where these items came from. Yanye Koch, Yewe Wutuka, come ashore, Yik Eit Lewi, Gs Yewutusane. We came and brought and made a nice gravel beach for you to land on. At.Óow Tuasigu, Iyach, Dechud hit, Yale Kiji hit, Kusta hit, Kauk hit, Yale hit, Shuka hit, Chesachuawe, Hahiti Satiiha. These are just a few of our houses, from Yakutat and from Chilkoot, Lake Chilkoot area. Deshu. Yan the Stakya, San. Hasahe. Ashan, Hastujiyescha. They are the ones who are standing before them today. Uhan, Ksatiya Tlakokadi. Yewech Tuasigu Isikucha. Wasa Hatunistani Ksatiya Shukakau Hatliko Has. Kokte Hasu Mugutka Hajiti Yate. Vilchisa Akhlitko Hashangu Kedi. Jochish Has. Chukanedi, Khatas Chukanchau, Akantkiyan Kagwantan, Akhtedke Kagwantan, Akantkiyan Daklawede, Akantkiyan Yanyedi, Vilchish, Akheche Saach, Wasahatun Netanik Satiya Igiha, At.Óow Kuchte. Thank you for allowing me to speak today and welcoming the At.Óow back home to us. We are strengthened by it. At.Óow, our spirit is strengthened from it to see it once again. Yewe, Yid Koha, Achonch, Yet Yadi. Astuin het getankwan.
You know, I've traveled quite a ways here. But in knowing traveling is part of our life. You know, our people have traveled by canoe longer distance than from here to Ketchikan. And so, in those bits of travel, there are people that had art ability and also ways of thinking about art. And as they went along, they thought about the things that they're going to be using. Clothing. And you couldn't travel, I couldn't, Hach Adi is one of the break-off clans from ours. And we have traveled all the way up to Tlakwan.
Oh, wow.
And so, in the way of thinking, there are younger people that follow along, try to imitate things that we've done, like putting up food, making a living, surviving. And for me, I recall when I used to put thread into a needle, and I was young then, because my aunties would ask me to do it. They'd say, come on, you put that, could you needle this? And I do it. And that was it. And then afterwards, there would be a meal. As I recall, there was tea, and they'd break up hardtack and put it in the cracker, in the tea. Then they put grease in the tea. I thought, oh man. I mean, that's just the way they survived. They did this because it was a customary thing to do. And whenever you did something, it was very social because they really enjoyed the company of new people coming into the house and also sewing. They're doing the sewing. And I used to think, what in the world? You know, just a little kid, and they'd ask me to do the lining of moccasins. Now, I didn't really care too much for the idea of sewing, but I did it because my auntie asked me to do it. And that becomes a form of respect. And so we think about these things and all the At.Óow that we have that is brought here, the chilkat blanket. My wife does chilkat blankets, and it takes a long time to do one of those blankets. And then I get a crazy project, and that takes a long time. Well, I think there's something about carving and patience and being able to create something. But the old-timers, they've already done it. They knew what they were looking at when they were asked to do it. It's not like putting a little needle, putting a thread through a needle. And I thought about another thing. I thought about all the At.Óow that we have in museums throughout the country, all over, even Europe. And I just couldn't believe it, that we are people that had a lifestyle that was so different than many other. And I have a tendency of looking at it with pride. I was asked to speak once at an event that took place at the Field Museum, and they had me put on a chilkat blanket and a headdress, you know, like this headdress here. And so I told him, I says, you know, I have a real hard time doing this, because what I see are ceremonial objects that could have been used in our part of the country, and that isn't the case. And what is happening here is a return of all this. So what I think that we are continuing our culture. It is starting to pick up a lot more, and people are beginning to see that, hey, these are people that have a culture and a background where they continue their own work. And so when I think about this, I think of a safe. You take a safe and you have all your valuables in the safe and you lock it. Lock it because you don't want anything to happen to it. But also, I think of a bank. A bank. Bank, you put money out of your pocket, put it there, and then it gains after a period of time. But what's happening with our culture is right before your eyes. And we have a place here in Juneau that becomes a place for safekeeping. I've always taken my stuff, all our At.Óow, that becomes heirlooms. That is heirlooms that belong to not me. It's heirlooms that have been done by our own people, our own clan, that can be able to be used by the youngsters. We have youngsters. I think of my grandson. You know, here is my grandson, lives in New York. You can put on a vest and say that he is a Tlingit Indian. No, he's practically blonde, but he's a Tlingit Indian. Now we have many other people amongst us. There are those that are black, those that are half white. And I found myself in a situation where you can't talk about somebody else who is half, because I can't, because I'm married to a white lady. And I can't. That isn't me. And there isn't many of our people who realize that that's one of those things that we need to continue our lives with respect. And that's just the way it is. And you'll find that people will be able to not only the respect in a way, but also people will understand that, hey, this guy's not a bad guy after all. You know, and so I didn't want to, as an artist, one of the things that I really enjoy is copying, but also at the same time, I feel that it's pretty important to create. Yeah. And that's just my part of it, my life, my way of life, my yes, yeah, that's the way.
our people, we always address the opposites by their house and their name, but my younger brother, Kinkadunik, already addressed them, so in a take one on Yatkosani, ho 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 ho, Kulchish Yaidat, Ichochalkani, Yakagan Kena Hihi, Yachtuchtinuk, Achtui Shit A. Ganech Achitiati, Takatyahan, ho 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 ho. In our culture, our leaders always address all the clans that are here. It gives recognition. I know if I'm sitting in the congregation and nobody mentions my name, my clan, I feel like I didn't even show up. But I took a shortcut and I call you on Yatkosani, noble people, children of the land. Is this a very happy occasion? Wells Fargo, gonna cheese the cut the han, donuts at At.Óow. You're masters of money. Hwakain Tledahin Aslisko has Yaguikt Kuste Tunachyan Tokoch. I made the statement one time that we're traveling on our grandfather's canoe through a changing landscape. And this is what's happening now. The landscape is changing. And when I say our grandfather's canoe, the thing that's holding us up, the kita lashat, I forgot I'm speaking Tlingit, huh? Atlisko hasya guyekt, hasta kusti awa, the kita lashat, athaut lihashak. We're, the thing that keeps us afloat are the traditions of our elders, our ancestors, our grandparents, and the changing landscape is what's happening here now. Yakute, not ain. We hear all the time on the radio, on the streets, that there's climate change happening. And I mentioned in the Park Service when I was working there is climate change. See, we're building a tribal house. See, they're returning At.Óow. And this is not NAGPRA. No federal orders are in place here. It's out of the goodness of your heart. Yohan itu wuyak itu kachaya yat At.Óow wetsatin ha. Yachin ziak At.Óow has ashukakao. Jesus to set the achat. We ask tu as to set to ach. We sha tu as to set to ach. We that kochte ia shat ya ashukakao. Ho 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 ho. Gulchish, Yatas Nak Achin. Wondered, was there any Daktain towns in here? Yes, Yeti, okay, come stand by me. Yeah. We're training a young man to take our place, and I hope you guys forgive me when I'm running back and forth. I try to remind them what to do, how to respond. In our culture, when an elder speaks, you don't sit on your hands. You look for a chance to thank them, acknowledge what they said, and that's what I was doing with my kid brother here. Yeah. But what I was saying, Yatas Nak Achin, Shagunki, Shukakao, Akas Aklahas, Yatas Nak. Tawusagu Hastujidi Tawusagu Yatatin. Ho 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 ho. Sagu. Yewa Hastatuiti Yayatat Hastawu Kohtayana. And their spirit is mending now, because when the Europeans came, I know I don't want to go into it, but our culture was taken apart by the New World. And it's still happening. Still happening. There's part of it that's healing and part of it's going down. What I said a while ago about, I made an announcement that people with good hearts purchased and gave back Glacier Bay, Berg Bay. The climate is changing, it's getting warm, and we're healing now. We're starting to heal, and Wells Fargo, you're a part of the healing process. Thank you very much. Yeah. Eagles, Itkoaha, Yuayakoktuti, Ijide. The Eagles. The Chaknach City Ayon.
Goodness cheese. So at this time, the Eagles will respond to ensure balance and to validate what has been said and what has been done here. And our first Eagle clan we'll call up are the Kagwantan. Okay.
I come from the box house. I was born and raised in Huna. And this is really an honor to witness all that's going on right now. It's really exciting to see this. And before I go on, I want to say I'm really proud of my nephews, Elijah, Joseph, and Paul, for all you guys are doing. That really makes me excited. And I have 8 grandchildren. I've been trying to teach them our culture. They speak better than I can. And so
that's really important for me to have them see all this that's going on, how important it is to know who you are and where you come from. So, I just want to be let it known that how much we appreciate what Sealaska's doing for us, and the bank. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Goodness, sheesh.
Chatsuch tawas green akkodatan egwad achishas lukwachadi achatas lukwachsha achlis kwas taktentan zu hachunke zu tran simshan zu Johann zu dekinahas istakatede haiti kawaha yewa haiti Tlingit khasati chukunul chish tlakat Johann yukatangi hayin qidatan ya At.Óow zu Wells Fargo gunul chish hajiti ya ach ya At.Óow zu hajishaguni tlakhwase gunul chish hatuyeti tlakun gunul chish saya hadatuati adad achaya in akhtatan egwat tuchle chish qawa kwal chekha kwati 2-3 hours shaktewa. So maybe I'll be how do you translate that? Tuch lachishi qa. Ambitious. Maybe I'll be an ambitious man and try and talk for 2-3 hours. Yue hayin dai dekan at shasit kwas. Tuach kan kian knech kwan. Stikat Johann. Hasit kwas hayin dai dekan nujin chauk. Ya nukt. Kleinach tutuwu ne. Ya nukt. Akawe shashakinach awe wu good. We nukt. Tish de Karnachu good. Achawa Deikach was he was lonesome for his people, this grouse. Akawa Heltasawa Owu we Shashaki to Shashaki Nachawetsu wu good. Tuk Heltasa to Owu. Kundahin Saya Shashaki Nachawe wu good. Dachawe has duchun ke shay dehen wa au wetleinach sha yewach datuati ya dat ya At.Óow. This is the way I'm feeling about this At.Óow. How many times this grouse went looking for his people and he couldn't find any, and he kept on going to the next mountain, and finally he came to this one mountain. And there was lots of grouse there. He was amongst his people again. And that lonesomeness went away. This is the way I feel about our At.Óow now. They came back, they're amongst their own people again.
So we're going to adjust the schedule just a little bit here. For the takeaway D, we'll call on them later. Anthony with the Sagway D was supposed to be here, but I do see Rick. You want to speak on behalf of the Sagway D?
Thank you. I want to recognize my clan sister, Linda Wynn, who is also here, is also a Sakwe D. I would have been happy to let her speak. And But I want to do just a few things. First of all, I want to thank the traditional scholars. I've had opportunities to be in the same room with them, and their wisdom is incredible, and I learn new things every time. To the Wells Fargo people, you know, I first of all recognize Alma Rasmussen for, first of all, having an appreciation of Native culture and recognizing it was something valuable and that it should be preserved. The fact that he also understood that it should never leave Alaska and it really should come back to the Native people was equally as important. So to the people of Wells Fargo, thank you.
Kach gach wuhach. Kanatin. Yo ach du wasach. Chach aya ach. Dach lawedi. Nach ach siti. Kit gushi hit. Hit dach aya ach. Klakwan. Kwan dach aya ach. That's my first time I actually introduced myself in Tlingit. I've been practicing. I'm gonna hear from my co-worker Jeff Lear and other linguists, but I'm learning. Guna Chish, Lynn had AD or friend Houston, from the Ach Kwan and the Wushkitan allowing us to have this wonderful ceremony. Thank you for keeping the fire going to accept this wonderful gift of At.Óow from all of us in Southeast Alaska. Gunachish. My heart is warm because that fire has been going. And from Kikushi hit, the fire's been going in our house. I'm here to represent also two other houses, Dakhlawadi's, Shkin George, Shkin Dutan, who is from the Killer Whale Tooth House in Nangoon, Edwell John, who is the clan leader from the Killer Whale Seal Chasing House in Nangoon. One of his name is Klech Yakit. I'm wearing my glam, but these are my ancestors that are giving me strength for me to speak with you today. Also, too, we talked about At.Óow. Sometimes when we're in a ceremony, when we put on our At.Óow, we're no longer Kanatin. We're no longer Linda Wynn. We take on these precious names and these At.Óow to get strength from our ancestors. And I feel it. I feel from the eagle side the strength from the At.Óow. Unachish Nathan Jackson, who is from the Sakai clan, Luch A'adi, my grandfather's people. Unachish Nathan Yechiadi. The mask over there is from the Koho clan, Luch Nach Adi. Mike Gunachish, I'm representing your grandfather's people. I'm explaining to you how I'm related to all of these clans. This is our connection. This is how we keep our culture going and alive. Gunachish. God for notes. Yech Nauru, my grandson, Deshitan. Konatin is his grandmother's name. That's who he was referring to. And I have met his grandmother. And I hope I'm living her name in respect. My second name, Kachgach Wuha, is my grandmother's name. And she's known for her sewing in Klakwan. When I first came to Klakwan, I was 12 years old. I hopped out of the family car, and my Uncle Ed, who was one of our clan leaders, Sukish, or Gush Kling, and I came up to my uncle, and he was a big man, and I go, Uncle, Uncle, where are the Indians? He looked down at me, and he goes, you are one. Really? Because I didn't know, because I lived in Bellevue, Washington, not in Klakwan. I was thrilled to know that I'm part Tlingit Indian. And I'm still very proud to be that part of me. Nathan, thank you for pointing out that no matter if you're half black, half white, Asian, we're all people. That's what Tlingit is. From Shking Dutan, her grandfather, Jimmy George Sr., he was the father of all killer whales. He's here. I feel him. I've met him too. Wushchaka Duha was his Tlingit name, and that is also Edwell John's Tlingit name as well. So we're living on. There's another important person that I would need to mention is from the Keat house in Nangoon, and that's Mark Jacobs. His Tlingit name, one of them, is Sa'at, meaning cold, which means from the migration story of our people coming over the glacier or underneath the glacier. Then there's another clan leader from my house. His name is Dan Katsik, and his Tlingit name is Keat Ishankanti. That's also John Katsik, our present leader's name. This is all important to know. That's what us women and all of us know, our heritage. Gunachish ganach deiti, my husband's people, my father's people, and my great-grandfather's people, for your kind words. They mean an awful lot. Dakde Tong, Gunachish, for your words. My favorite raven auntie, Vi Koti. Yeah, and her family, the Daltons. Thank you for your words and the support that you're giving to all of us. Gunachish, Paul. Thank you for acknowledging the Daklawadi. Thank you for your words and teaching us more about our culture. I value your words. Gunachish from Yakutat. I love your story about the oyster catching. Dana. Your knowledge is wonderful. Thank you for sharing. I know the Kitsati wasn't here, but I know in spirit they're here as well, and I want to just acknowledge them too. And if I forgot somebody, forgive me. I also wanted to thank the Weissbrodt and the Rasmussen Foundation, and if I hadn't mentioned the Wells Fargo, this is amazing. And I'm glad they're back home. Even though they were in Anchorage, it was still within Alaska. But Southeast Alaska is home. Even though I was born and raised in Bellevue, Washington, coming up here ever since I was a child, up every year, see family and everything. It's my home. It will always be my home, no matter where I'm at. Southeast Alaska is home. These At.Óow are home, a reminder of who we are. That's how I feel. My little heart is pitter-pattering. It's because I'm so excited and I'm so glad I'm here to represent the Moiety. I want to acknowledge our other family in the Yukon. That's where our families are from as well. And I know they might be watching, so I want to acknowledge them as well. And thank you, brother, for acknowledging me as well. So, Guna Chish, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me.
The next Eagle clan to speak will be the Wushkitan. Do we have anyone from the Wushkitan? Yan Yedi. Yedi. Okay. Well, at this time, then, we'll call up the Takeaway.
For this opportunity to stand on behalf of the Teakwedi. May it be as if my namesake, Eshkoka Minnie Johnson, is acknowledging what we are experiencing here today. May it be also that my mother, Jigekla Junakla, is here to acknowledge and capture the words and catch the words that we heard today from her father's people, my father's people, my grandfather's people, the Tlingit, the Tlingit. May it also be that my mother's mother, Gludas, is standing here, that her grandmother, Kasut, is standing here, that her sister, Sanata Jenny Jim, is standing here, and that her precious auntie, Shahedi Kla, is standing here. It was said today that these ceremonies are new, but the values that we hear and see and experience are who we are. They're hakustiyi, and they're alive and well, as we've heard from our elders, that today, though the landscape is changing, that we're a resilient people. A young student, when I was teaching, said, the definition of intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. And the late Richard Dauenhauer and Nora Marks Dauenhauer said and captured the words that we're eclectic people because we will remain here. We are the people of the Tungus. And we heard today our ancestors speak in such profound ways that moved us all. I know that my uncle, Frank Jack Kagi Skake, is singing. I know that his brother, Peter Jack Dehitsi, is singing. And their older brother, Kate, Eddie Jack, and Willie Jack and Johnny Jack are acknowledging the words that were spoken here today. Ganesh Chish. Today, we heard universal values that encompass all of us. Rather, we're Gleka, Tlingit, Aleut, Athabaskan, Haida, Tsimshian. And those are of respect, remembering who we are and what our responsibility is to ourselves, our clan, and our community. We heard about collaboration. We heard humor. And why that's so important today as we stand here on this changing landscape is that we're a people in a world that's in mourning. We heard my clan sisters, Shangukedi, acknowledge the absence, that this is the first ceremony we've done without Kingisti, David Katzik. We feel the weight of that loss under our feet today, but we know he's dancing as he sees his peers here holding us up, because he said it's in us, and it is in us. It's running through our veins. Our ancestors, our blood is running through our veins. Today, the way I feel and what I heard by the spirit songs that came out and the balancing, I heard my precious Uncle Cyril George called At.Óow in the songs. I heard my grandfather John Hunter Shaikach. I heard my grandpa Taha, my father Taha Andres Cadiente also. I heard my great uncle Walter Sobolov. He had a name that he gave my husband, who's of Aleut descent, Norwegian descent. It's a name you hardly hear, but it was one of his names, Shkundi. I heard him, and I saw him in this At.Óow that let me speak to what I felt when I heard those songs in your words. That in this time where we're a people throughout the world that are in mourning, that our father's people, our ancestors came to us to put our hat on and say, I see you, to put the robe on to keep us warm. I'm here to comfort you, to hold up that dagger and say, we'll continue to protect this land and our way of life that's ours. That's what I heard. That's what the wisdom I heard of the Spirit. That the greatest gift of that Spirit is love. Ixakan. Ixakan. To the Kiksadi, it was said that you're here with us in spirit, and I know you are. To the Tluknakadi, carrying on our artwork, capturing what you see and hear, memorializing it for us. Gunishchish. The Tlingit, how many times have you taken our sorrow and brought it to the bottom of the ocean? The Gunaktedi, whose ancestral lands are south of us. Gunishchish to the Okakwan, the Tlingit, the Wishkitan, for letting these words come alive and dance on your land, and for holding hands with the Takukwan, the Yanyedi, the Ishkahit, the Gunaktedi, Gunishchish. To the Deshitan, you captured our words so powerfully about what it's like when our ancestors come into our presence to hold us up, hold our chin up, to look into our eyes and say, I see you, I love you. Gunishchish for those words. To the Kachadi, to the Deshitan, to the Kanekwan. Every time we come into his presence, he teaches us. And the love that he has is because of the hope that these elders have for us. They see it in us. And they're always teaching us. Gunishchish. To the Tlukakadi, the grandchildren of the Teakwedi. Our love is secure in that lineage. The Dakdane Tan stood with this elder on the shorelines of Yakutat as we watched the ocean coming in. And he said, maybe this will be the last time. May there be many, many more times. If you hear anything that I may say today, it's that we need you to continue to teach us and hold us up, that we continue to learn, that we uphold our opposites. Hold us to that. Teach us to do that. Teach us to hold up their names. As a young woman, I sat in the boardroom of Sealaska Corporation as the elders from all over Southeast Alaska came to plan the first celebration. And one elder stood up and he said, "It's time to teach them who they are. It's time to teach them who we are. One day, they will stand and they will shout out our names." And I thought about that for a long time, because these humble people, these great people, for that to come out, it wasn't a matter of ego, but they knew, our elders knew, that if we know who they are, we know who we are, and therefore we know what we're responsible for. We're responsible for each other and these lands and these resources and the children that will follow. Gunishchish for acknowledging us as Anyat Kusani, precious noble people of the land. I heard our brother Kingasti's words in that as well. To those that are representing the bringing home of our At.Óow, as Joe Zuboff said, it was like they were imprisoned and they were needing air. They needed us. Gunishchish for bringing them home to us. When you leave here, let us all remember that we're all needing to be lifted up, and that's really our calling these days. Let us not forget that the souls of those children that were found in unmarked graves. Let us not forget those who've lost and are struggling from the COVID-19 pandemic. But let them take hope that we as a people who have been here for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years are resilient, and we remain, because our traditions that have been perpetuated by our elders remain. And as I step away, let me also take the privilege, and thank you, Linda, for calling out Jeff Lear's name. I've immersed myself in his work, but I've never met the man, and I'm privileged to stand in his company. And thank him for working with Elizabeth Nyman and capturing the history of this place that we stand on, that many of us call home. And I hope that in our company, as you return back to the Wells Fargo and the other institutions and the boards that you represent, that you carry with them our utmost thanks for bringing our ancestors home. Gunishchish.
Gunishchish, Barbara. Gunishchish for your words. I'll speak on behalf of the Shangukedi and Kingiste. And I asked Barbara to stay here because I know she was special to him, gave him strength, and I understand why. And so thank you, Barbara, for being here. The Gunishchish to our Raven Clan members for your words and explanations. Luke Nakadi, Gunishchish for coming up and expressing our gratitude. AD, Fran, thank you again, and Gunishchish, thank you for letting us speak on your land. Danak Tedi, Dahunuku, our outer shell, precious outer shell. Gunishchish, thank you for calling on your ancestors. Deshitan, Yeknawu, Gunishchish, Ms. Chish always for sharing with us and explaining that our ancestors' hands and fingerprints are on these objects. The Kinech Kwan, Gunas Chish for your stories, your dance and your song. Like the spirit dance that brings life to the At.Óow. The stories we shared, the laughter, the songs, that's welcoming our ancestors back. They see it's us. Luchahadi, my grandfather's people. Gunas Chish always for your words, for your wisdom, for your lessons. Daktain Tan. Gunas Chish for holding us up, for reminding us what is important, walking across the stage to give us lessons and reminders. Again, it's all adding and building to this strength. I want to acknowledge Joe and Leslie. Thank you for being here all these hours and for flying down. And, you know, Joe is no stranger to Southeast. I know he mentioned he did his management training program and was the manager down in Ketchikan and a Southeast regional manager here in Southeast in Juneau and had a home here and lived here. And Leslie has had years of serving our community. So thank you both. I want to share that I met these objects when I was also a management trainee for National Bank of Alaska in the mid-90s, and I actually worked across the hallway in the corporate relations department with Ben Barrera and Vicki Irwin, and at lunchtime I would go and visit, and I distinctly remember this Nachain and these objects, the At.Óow, our ancestors, behind glass. But seeing them here in this house, it's as if our ancestors came back, as if we heard their cry. They are not just art, as you heard. They're not just objects with values. Our ravens and eagle people spoke eloquently and emotionally and explained to us that they have spirits, they have names, and they carry a story, just as humans do, just as we do. When this blanket was woven, the spirit of the artists, the people who wore it, the clans that it represents, are all in it. They were calling to us, and we have been listening. That's why we are here. That's why they are here. And we know that they are proud of us. They are proud that our values are intact, that we are continuing the traditions that they have in their lifetime. We welcome them back home, and you are sitting here amongst your people. who carry your ancestors' names. The Nachain, it was explained to me by King Giste that Na means family, and Chain is ancient. And so it's as if we are, our clans and our people, like the Nachain, like the blanket, are woven together. And we carry the ancient messages, the ancient values into the future. And we're really glad they're back here. I know Sealaska Heritage has a process in our Council of Scholars. We do everything we can to identify the objects if there's a particular clan. And so we're really fortunate that they are here with this organization. We want to find the rightful clan members, the rightful ancestors and descendants. So, goodness cheesh.
Thank you, Sister Barbara, for standing with us. Thank you so much. You've really strengthened us. Good achieve. We are strengthened today in that we have others besides the Tlingits who are living with us. And we would now like to call upon our brother, the Tsimshian, if he would join us and express his thoughts as well. We are happy that Alfie Price will be joining us on the Council of Traditional Scholars to represent the Tsimshians.
Lachishu, 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 La, Akri Walayu, the Master Dr. World, the Kwasam, the Jim Hawksku, the Council, the Will man get I feel like such a babe next to our man get. Why? Do I exit Newsome? Do Akadi Dubku? Delgoriu Habolda SHI Scalanum Kaam Segetwin. Do exit Newsome, Local Luam Goru, no one needs some. Local Luam Goru, I got quite some. I'm happy to see you all. Thank you, everybody. I'm happy you all came. Na Hotka Goru. Gwinitsu, Milgida Adalimi, the Amhalite, Naganta Gworu. It filled my heart. Luholka Gworu at a wee Hautka you. It filled my heart to witness the songs and the dance. I said, Ganta Goru, this is what I needed. Nabashinu, we Sipka, I've been so anxious about the COVID and how to how to function in the world. But he said, Ganta Goru, this is what brings me contentment. This calms my God, my heart. Zoganu, how you, the kwasam, the galam how, the khatni tsimshian, yagai, namesh, the ash, mensendoga, the gid, tinch at a, the meshta, the kwasam, Akadziksa Gogodam da Kwan Tinch. So I was telling you, I'm a little bit shy or embarrassed, aren't quite accurate, but it's kind of the same thing. I'm a little doch, a little, I don't know how you put it, a little shy about speaking on behalf of all the Tsimshian. However, my Ta'as Mensendoga to get my Auntie Nancy said, Tinch, you should go do it, go talk. We're proud of you, just go do it. And I use the word tinch, which is like a polite way to say you should go do something, but when it comes from your auntie, you know what it means. Should go up to Wayu, Tsimshieno Dishaida, Dishkiriganitsku, Kispetwada Diptegu, get land, you will natashu. Ligi Alfie Price Duam Kamsuamech. So my Tsimshian name is Shagop. It means wave maker. I am Tsimshian, I am Haida, and I am Tlingit. Nechari Dachkan Ayachat. I am of the Killer Whale clan, and I can trace my lineage back to the ancient village of Gitlan along the Skeena River. And as our Manget noted, I also told you I'm a grandfather with the Nechari, the Tlingit tribe from Saxman. Simgit go will walsum gwa shagetwin. What you did here is of utmost importance. Hasagudim meshtu the nachnoga hoya at a nachnoga getwelk at a nachnoga halait. I wish to say a few words to, in Samaich, I said, oh, by the way, I'm speaking Samaich, the Tsimshian language. We have a very similar relationship with At.Óow. I call him Nachnoch. It means that they are our relatives. Wilayska Gidaginisk, these are our Tlingit relatives. I mentioned specifically the nachnoch that were used by Halait, which is like the holders of medicine. Nachnoga Gidwalk, the Hoya, the things that were used by warriors. Shabashaskan Walayska Gidaginitsk. Shabashaskan Lumziksum, Lugo Lu Am Gagodisum, Quasum. I'm not going to translate that for y'all, but they know what I said. Shku Zoganu the Meshtu the Walayska Gidaginitsk. A little bit I feel like it's not necessarily my place as a was a Tsimshian killer whale, to speak on behalf of the clans who are welcoming their family home. However, Edziksagodu de Samalgi de Gwasam at a Amapas dip Neast. I can't really speak on behalf of anybody here. However, it's beautiful when we see it. At a Doixit Newsom, Wells Fargo, at a hail to get a Kinam Willaiska Tlingit Gitaginitsk. You might hear Doixit Newsom used or Doixit Noon. It's our way of saying thank you, but it doesn't just mean thanks. It's not just a polite way to say, oh, you did a nice thing. If you dig through the meanings of the words, it means I am bound to you, or we are bound to you. So when you do us the Simgitko, the utmost important act of returning Walaiska Gitaginitsk, it's acknowledging all of our places in the world. Doixit Newsom. Dip Doixit Newsom. We are bound to you. We don't have a goodbye in Somali. If I say, in the Malgik, I'm saying, I will see you again. This isn't just a see you later. This is a recognition of our place in the world, of our nachnoch, our balach. We have spirits within us, Tuwu, Hoyigui. So my Tuwu is going to see your Tuwu again, whether it's in this skin or not. So when I say Doixit Newsom, that's what it means. It doesn't just mean thanks. Waiwa. The Segud and Meshtu de Kwasam. I just want to tell you all something. Lugo Simgit Go Uwalsam Shagetwin. Lugo Simgit Go Uwalsam the Meshta Menget at a Limi at a Milgita. It's of utmost importance that we do these things today, that our elders taught us the ways to do things, that we welcomed our Walaisk, our family home, that we na meshtu luhotka godu lesait yol de limi at a milgita the we hautku. It filled my heart so much to witness that it pushed the tears out of my eyes. Lugo luhotka godu, my heart is very full. Doixit Newsom at a Lugo Doixit Noon, Dr. Worl. Gumgosh Wan, thank you and bless you for all that you do. Waiwa and the Malgik needs some.
How strong those Tsimshians are. They were brought to Alaska. They were brought to Alaska with the idea of suppressing their language and their culture. But you could see today the strength of the Tsimshian people, the strength of their culture. and that we can still continue to hear the language of the Tsimshian people on our land. You have strengthened us. You have made our people great by showing the world that no matter what happens, that you will be here, that the Tsimshian language will be heard on our land. Gunachish, and thank you again for strengthening us. I don't know if Rob Edwardson, who is also on our Council of Traditional Scholars, was not able to make it. But he does have a daughter who does work for us and who is working on the Haida language. And we've tried to find her and send for her, because one of the things that we like to teach our young people is always to be ready when they're called upon. If she comes, we'll let her talk. But for now, I just have to say that my heart is just filled with such pride to hear all of the words that have come from our treasures. These are our cultural treasures in the same way that our At.Óow are our treasures. You have heard their knowledge, and we thank them for that knowledge that they gave us. And I am so happy that it's recorded. It's going to be available for our children and our grandchildren to see. Did I see our Susie here? And now, Susie, come and speak for the Haidas. Come and represent the great people of the Haidas. Oh, right there. There she is. My glasses are. Speak for your father. Speak for your people.
However, returning the items Wells Fargo, and I'm Haida. I don't speak for all the Haidas, but I'm happy to be here with everyone. So, thank you.
Thank you. We have so many things to be grateful for today. Not only to the Wells Fargo people for bringing back our At.Óow, to the Weissbrodt family for bringing back our At.Nané, our art, and to Miss Dr. Cordes for sending us the Tana. But also to hear the words from Kenny that some of Glacier Bay will be returned to the Huna people. Glacier Bay is the homeland of the Huna people. And we are going to work to make sure that you have access to it. We are going to change those federal laws that prohibit our people from hunting and fishing in Glacier Bay. This is the strength of our people that you've seen. You saw our young ones. Oh, I'm so proud of my nephews. I'm so proud of my grandchildren, to show the world that our culture will still continue, that the voices of our ancestors will still be heard on this land. You give me such strength. It's been hard for sure to be up here without our clan leader. Indeed, we miss him, but we are strengthened by knowing that his spirit is still with us. We are strengthened with seeing the hand of Albert Kukesh emblazoned in our clan house. He is here with us today. We know that his spirit is here with us today, and his grandchildren who will continue to live among us. He always bragged to me that he had 20 grandchildren. Well, I only had a few. But I still have I know I have a future ahead of them, and I'm waiting for that. And I wanted to share the words of Ron Williams when he spoke at the 2017 ceremony. And he reminded us that it was the Huna people who would gather the wool from Glacier Bay off of the bushes, and that they would trade that wool. They would bring it up to Klukwan. They would trade with all the Chilkat weavers. And so he would say he knows that Huna is still represented in all of those Nachem. So the words of Ron Williams continue to live with us, and we thank the Dukdane Tan for that. We thank Jim Thomas for his song, and I want you to all encourage him that he's going to help us out with our Tlingit opera that will tell the story of how we defeated the Russians. I know he was involved with opera, so now we heard it and we evidenced that. We want to end this ceremony on a happy note. I know for some of us, we're still grieving for the loss of many of our family members. But before we do our adoptions, I would like us to do a happy song, and I would like to invite my grandson, Paul, to go ahead and lead that. And I know he's going to call on my nephews to help him.
Sigu Yanana Khaya, gonna chase the Katuhan. Yaigi Gawa, Hatia got ya At.Óow, yes. Kegoktu Shia, Sigu Kashi, Akit. Akitas Akide, Goda Sheikha, gonna chase Hagut, Slakahadi, Satia. Ago, Jep, Akon. Late Kunde.
Hey now.
demands an eagle response. That demands an eagle response.
I was dancing that way. Okay, Eagles, we can all dance.
Now that takes some strength. So, well, we just wanted to conclude the ceremony, our welcoming home, our ancestors, and our At.Óow on a happy note. And thank you, my Raven brothers, for that wonderful song, and assisted by my nephews, I know. So right now, what we would like to do is to give some names. You know, names are really important among our people. They are owned by our clans, and they are transferred down through generations. Names tie us to our ancestors, and we will live on through our names that are given to our youth. We have this symbolic immortality in that we will continue to live. We guard our names very carefully. However, we are able to give names to individuals who are members of our clan, or not members of our clan, but who have demonstrated through their actions their worthiness. They have made contributions to our clans and to our society. Ordinarily, our names are given in our ceremonies or a kuich. But because of the pandemic, we have not been able to hold our ceremonies. But very fortunately, the Council of Traditional Scholars approved of us giving names today following the At.Óow and Ancestors Welcome Home ceremony. However, we know that we will not be able to do the full ceremony at this time, and we want to apologize to our council, you know, who are the ones who guide us in what is the proper way. But today, we will be giving our names out to some worthy people. So if we could call on the Tlukahadi and the Kagwantan and the Shangukedi to give out the names that they mean to have to these worthy individuals. So.
Today, the Shangukedi are honored to give the names to two individuals, and will be assisted by our grandson, Paul Marks, of the Tlukahadi clan. Okay, we have Mark Dundor.
I'll have him do it right now. Let him know that his names will be straight.
So again, this being sort of a unique process, it was clarified to me by one of our council members that we are giving names today, but their names will be strengthened at a ku'ich formally. So we have Mark Dundor and, I have to read the name. Yeah, this is for Shambhu K. Yeah, you're helping us. So, yeah.
Platini.
Okay. At.Ki Platini. At.Ki Platini. At.Ki Platini. At.Ki Latini. Oh, one more. Okay. The next name we are giving to is Brittany Jean. Oh, let me explain. At.Ki Latini is caretaker of children. For Brittany Jean, she will be receiving the name Ihutski. Okay. Kihutski. Okay. Kihutski.
Gotta keep it on there.
Kihutski. Kihutski.
One more.
Kihutski.
Okay.
Sheesh. And Kihutski is the little bear above, as in the sky. And the sheesh.
One time?
Yeah, what was it cool? Yeah, Tlingit, Isa, Said, yeah, Kochwatikadim. Yeah, we know in our culture when we transfer the name, it's like a person returned to us, born again. And in our language, in our culture, a young person will grow into the name. You'll grow into that name. Some people think you're given a big name, you're already big. No, you're not. You'll grow into it. Yeah, look at this. Cocktail good, yeah. Ashes kwe, cocktail on a good yell cocktail saw ashes kwe. Ashes kwe up. 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 Yeah.
okay, Sealaska Heritage Scholarship?
Donating the money back to Sealaska. This name that was given. Our Auntie Jackie, my mom's sister. She's coming back to us. She's also going to be a clan sister to Kagwe.
Yes. These guys. I have a hard time keeping these guys under control here. I want to invite Pat to come up here. Many of you already all know who Pat is. She's the wife of Rick Harris, and so she has had many journeys with us throughout his tenure at Sealaska and what he does now for Sealaska Heritage. But she's always been there, part of all of our celebrations, part of our challenges, and she's not only stood by Rick, but she's stood by all of the adventures that we've had trying to, grow and expand and revitalize our culture. And the Sukahadi, we are just so proud to be able to invite her to be our clan sister. The name we're giving her today is Kekwaking. Kekwaking. And which means flower. Yeah.
Ekakwen ah.
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 For you.
Goodness cheese.
And the interpretation of that is flower. And you come up every spring, and there's beautiful flowers. And that is the interpretation of that particular song, word. So you have, in the spring, you'll notice that the beautiful flowers start coming up. So that's the name.
Now the names, whoever got a name, they need to come up and dance.
Go ahead.
Okay, those who received names, if they would come up right now, and they have to show the strength of their clan through dancing. So go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. Who's gonna do it?
Imitate our ancestors. Be brave.
Well, I think you all witnessed the clans, the culture, and the traditions here today, and it really, I know the ancestors are really happy. If you look at it, you can probably hear them cheering right now. They're real happy. I'll get it right. They made it home, and I want to thank Wells Fargo. There's no thank you big enough for what you've done here. It's really, and all of you that are still here, it really makes our hearts feel good that the culture is alive and well, and it will get weller. Yeah. Yeah. Wells Fargo, weller. Yeah. Yeah. But in our culture, when you hear elders say "Gunachish," and they say "ho ho," "Gunachish," "ho ho," when they're saying it's coming from deep within their soul, "Gunachish," "ho ho." So I'd like for all of you to stand up and say "Gunachish," "ho ho." Gunachish, ho ho. Gunachish, ho ho. Gunachish, ho ho. Thank you very much. That's coming from deep within your soul when you do that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. This is it. Thank you all for coming. And I want to thank Sealaska too. I didn't get to thank them a while ago. Sealaska Heritage and Sealaska Corporation. Gonna change. Yeah, yeah.